Sir, turn off the mower, now! Officer, I'm just helping her clear the ramp.
He doesn't live here. He doesn't belong in this neighborhood.
Officer, please don't make him stop.
Ma'am, do you know this man?
I didn't know him this morning, but he's the first person who stopped.
Everyone noticed the grass. Nobody noticed she couldn't get out. When I first saw her house, the yard was completely out of control. The wheelchair ramp was buried under weeds. The walkway had disappeared. And the mailbox was surrounded by grass so tall it looked like nobody had reached it in months. Behind the screen door, an elderly woman was standing with both hands on her walker, watching the world pass by from inside her own home. I asked her if she needed help, and she looked down like she was embarrassed to answer. She said she did need help, but she couldn't pay me. I told her I wasn't there for money. I was there because no one should be trapped behind their own front door. That was when her eyes filled with tears. She told me people had walked past her house for months. Some stared. Some shook their heads. Some probably complained about the yard. But nobody knocked. Nobody asked if she was okay. Nobody asked why an elderly woman had stopped coming outside. Then she said something that made the whole yard go quiet. She said people were worried enough to call about the grass, but nobody was worried enough to ask why she couldn't leave her home. I started with the wheelchair ramp because that was the most important part. I cut through the weeds slowly, trying to open a safe path from her front door to the sidewalk. But a few minutes in, my trimmer hit something hidden under the grass. I stopped immediately, pulled the weeds back, and found an old walker lying beside the ramp. It was bent, rusted, and half buried in the dirt. When the elderly woman saw it, she covered her mouth and whispered that this was where she had fallen. She told us she had tried to reach the mailbox almost 3 months earlier. The weeds caught her walker. She slipped off the edge of the ramp and fell into the yard. She lay there for nearly 2 hours before a delivery driver heard her calling for help. After that day, she stopped trying to go outside. She said people thought she was ignoring the yard, but the truth was, she was scared of it. Her husband had built that ramp years earlier after her surgery. He used to tell her that as long as the ramp was clear, she would always have a way back to the world. But after he passed away, the ramp slowly disappeared, first under leaves, then under weeds, then under silence. So I kept going. I cleared the ramp first, then I opened the walkway, then I cut back the grass from the sidewalk, then I cleaned around the mailbox. The officer stayed and helped move branches. The neighbor who had complained stopped talking. Little by little, the front of the house started to look different. Not perfect, not fancy, just safe, just cared for, just human again. When the concrete finally showed, the elderly woman stepped onto the ramp with her walker for the first time in months. She moved slowly, 1 step. When she reached the mailbox, her hands were shaking. She opened it carefully, and inside was a postcard from her granddaughter. It said, "Grandma, I miss sitting on your porch." She pressed the postcard to her chest and broke down crying. Then she whispered, "I thought the world forgot I was still here." That moment reminded me this was never just about cutting grass. It was about giving someone her freedom back. It was about opening a path the world had ignored for too long. And just when I thought the day was over, the officer looked down the street and told me there was another house 2 blocks away. Same complaint. Elderly owner. No one had checked on him either. And that's where I went next. Comment next if you want to see the next yard we found. And follow if you believe people deserve help before judgment.